This will not be quick. This is a long-term campaign. ISIL is opportunistic and it is nimble. In many places in Syria and Iraq, including urban areas, it's dug in among innocent civilian populations. It will take time to root them out. And doing so must be the job of local forces on the ground with training and air support from our coalition.
Yeah, so dial me back in the year 2030 and we'll see how we're doing. Joining us now is Congressman Mike Pompeo, a Republican from the great state of Kansas and a member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, member of the House Select Committee on Benghazi. Hello, sir.
Great to be with you, Steve.
Always good to talk to you. You know, when you listen to the president, not only does he describe an almost impossible situation based on his strategy to combat it, one that's going to take years at that current strategy. But then he went on to say, you know, you can't beat this ideology with guns. You know, basically saying what Marie Harf said earlier from the State Department, you got to find these people jobs. I mean, this is a disaster of a policy.
See, this is delusional. I watched his remarks standing in the Pentagon, right? Standing in the place where our warriors go to live and prepare, and he tells them, hey, this isn't going to help at all. There's another way to solve this. This is the same guy who said they were JV not very long ago, and who told America during his campaign that they were on the run, and frankly, Al-Qaeda was a remnant of its former self. He doesn't understand what's really taking place, and you can see that his theory of leading from behind has allowed ISIS and Al-Qaeda both to continue to expand their footprint all across the world.
I think one thing that we heard in that video soundbite is very key, because he has said it before, and I think he has now officially accepted the defense or human shields as a defense by terrorists, which would prohibit us from going after any terrorist group or whatever, or terrorist entity that has human shields and puts itself amongst the population. He said they're embedded amongst innocent civilians. So in other words, we can't just go get them and bomb them en masse, because we'll kill innocent people. So he's telling terrorists, and he's now accepted the premise that if you do that, we can't come get you. I mean, that's defeat.
I think that's what he said. It is absolutely a surrender both to their tactic, and I also think it's a factual distortion. Many times these folks who are claimed to be civilian status are co-conspirators, not civilians. And so we have every right under the laws of war to go get them, but this president has continually refused to do the basic things that it's going to take to crush these folks who frankly aren't 10 feet tall and aren't made of impermeable materials. The United States military and our allies could jointly take care of this problem in relatively short order, but it's going to take leadership and a strategy, and this president's prepared to do neither of those.
All right, now on the home front, we heard reports today that several terrorist plots were thwarted in the proximity of July 4th. From coast to coast was the report, but nothing, you know, nothing of an Al-Qaeda-like big nature. These lone wolf types, guns, knives, those kinds of things. And the head of the FBI, Mr. Comey, testified yesterday before Congress, and I mean, he scared the heck out of me. Basically, he said, yeah, you know, because of great police work, because of unbelievable hard work on the part of law enforcement and others, we've been able to keep this in check here on the homeland. We've been able to thwart these kinds of things. But basically, he said, I don't know how much longer we could do that. What are we supposed to read as the public from that?
Director Comey is watching these threat streams and realizing that trying to go 1,000 for 1,000 is an incredibly difficult task. Our law enforcement folks did do great work over the last few weeks. I can't say much about it other than to say that I know that they did. He watches as we continue to take away tools from our law enforcement, things that they need to do to continue to track these folks, and he watches this threat in Syria move into the United States, right? Change its pattern of behavior. Instead of saying, come to Syria and fight the jihad here, the direction goes out through social media and other mechanisms. No, fight the jihad in Kansas or Nevada or in Florida, and that is what Director Comey is facing, and he recognizes if we don't take this down in the Middle East, he's got a problem on his hands here in the United States that will continue to grow.
Is it only a matter of time then before you're not 1,000 for 1,000 anymore, and an attack is imminent?
I'm hopeful we can continue to have great success and continue to take down these threats. But We saw with the Tsarnaev brothers, we saw at Fort Hood, we
Right.
watched a couple of attacks in Kansas that were thwarted just barely. Someone who tried to blow up our airport in Wichita, and another fellow who tried to kill a bunch of soldiers at Fort Riley.
And in Texas at the cartoon event, absolutely. So, Congressman, before I let you go, Hillary has said that there was never any subpoena with regard to her emails, and the chairman of your select committee on Benghazi has disputed that. Tell me, was Hillary lying?
Yeah, she at the very least got it wrong, and she's a pretty smart lady. So you tell me. What we can say with absolute certainty is she said there was no subpoena, and you can go online and see a copy of the subpoena for yourself. I think she was absolutely trying to mislead the American people. She gave a answer that was not truthful, and that wasn't the only untruthful answer she gave in the course of that interview about her document retention and her email policy.
That she voluntarily did this and didn't have to? Is that what you're referring to?
She said she did everything that was required under the law, and look, you're not allowed to keep federal records and not return them when you're done with your job, and that's what she did.
All right, one other question. When is she gonna testify, do you believe? And unlike her former friend or her current friend, Blumenthal, are we gonna hear her testify?
You will hear her testify, and I'm optimistic it will be in September.
Okay. Thank you very much, Congressman. Always great to speak to you. We'll speak to you soon. Very interesting stuff, folks. Okay, David Swerdlick of the Washington Post is next. But first, Donald Trump continues to rise in the polls. Could he win the nomination? Does he have your vote? Here's his button. Please vote for your favorite candidate in the Newsmax poll. Go to newsmaxpolls.com, newsmaxpolls.com, and cast your vote. We're coming back.